All right, well, we might as well start. Maybe we'll catch some other people along the way. Hey, YouTube. It is Monday night. We're going to play a little bit of Phantasy Star Online. So, first things first, let's pop in the patcher disk and see who we can find. So I did put a shout out on the Facebook Silver Rant PSO group. I just mentioned I'd be on around 10. It's about 10:30 here, so they may or may not be there. 30 seconds in, a new record. Nice. Yeah, so I was trying to get a couple people involved tonight, so maybe we'll get a full team together, but I guess we'll see what happens. So let's swap out this disk and throw in our version 2 disk. And hopefully, we will find some hunters. I guess just one of those things. You're just browsing through YouTube and you're like, hey, there's some dude playing PSO. Why not? I know I do it all the time. I don't think I have anybody actually on notification. And occasionally I'll just stumble upon somebody maybe doing a live stream or something like that. And I'll be like, yeah, I'll check that out for 5 minutes. Sometimes I get involved a little bit longer. Sometimes I kind of check in, check out. But yeah, it's always fun just to see who's online, see if I can catch them live. Okay, and I think the balance with the Elgato and my mic should be pretty good. Might be a bit hot on the volume, but I'm not, or on the game volume, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay, hit A, and let's go. Online mode, of course. Yes, the broadband adapter. Yes. Oops. Ah, shit. Yes. Yes. And let's connect. Cool. Good to know. I was really hoping to pop in on Saturday night, but a couple of in real life things happened. I ended up going to a friend's birthday party, and then after that my plan was, yeah, I'll come home, maybe I can put it in an hour or so, but ended up going to this thing in Toronto called Jazz Fest. So it's not really, doesn't really have anything to do with jazz, to be quite honest. Let's see who's on Cilia. It's more like bar rock bands, but they close off the entire lakefront in the beaches area of Toronto. I don't know, it's just kind of cool. You just kind of walk around. There's generally like 30-40 bands playing, and that was a good way to kill an evening, you know what I mean? So okay, I hope this mic isn't too hot. I'm just looking at some of the levels. Looks like it's pretty good. Okay, cool. Alright, so hopefully these guys are not all just GameCube players. Oh, one guy in normal mode. Cool, yeah, as soon as you get that Raspberry Pi up and running, definitely jump in. And I can certainly help you bust through a couple levels. Okay, I'm just going to go on to the Facebook group right now and see who is currently looking to play a game. Okay, so I'm just going to put playing now in the Facebook group. Cool. Alright, sweet. So let's just take a quick look again. See who is on each ship. So let's go transport, change ship. So is there anybody here? Everybody is in Cilia. Alright, well, let's just help out this guy on normal mode. And maybe we'll find some ultimate hunters. You know what? I never played version 1 long enough to really get a good feel for which version was better. but I imagine since there's less content, it would be easier to kind of run on the engine that it's built on, because version 2 basically just has the one expansion in ultimate mode plus a couple of new items, and you can go up to level 200 instead of 100. There's no real new quests or anything like that, but oh, this guy's level 2. Holy smokes. But I think when they tried to cram that into version 2, that's probably what made it bog down. That said, you can always use Eve's Patcher, which just streamlines everything. As soon as I get my USB GD-ROM, I will definitely be putting the Eve's Patcher on it, the proper one this time. So let's just say hello to our friend. Hey, hey. Yeah, and once you get version 2, you'll probably never go back. Just give me 1 sec. I'm just gonna actually bring this mic back a little bit. It's just a bit hot. You can see it trying to clip. Okay, cool. That looks a lot better. Yeah, I guess you're kind of stuck. I guess really the only way you can do that is well, you can do it a couple of different ways. You can download them, put them on an SD card, and then if you have one of those SD serial adapters, you could upload them to your VMU that way. You could use the PC-DC method, but then you're going back online. You can buy one of those PC transfer cables, and they get like a serial to USB adapter. That could work as well. I'm trying to think of what other ways you can do it. It's pretty much it. I just download the quests, obviously, just through the game. Okay, I'm going to try and find this guy. I said hello. If he doesn't respond back, maybe I'll just start an ultimate quest and see who jumps in. Okay. I'm just going to jump back to the Facebook group. See if anybody is around. Okay, cool. Looks like we might get one guy in. Okay, but I'm not going to waste too much time in normal mode because we are going to get nowhere. Okay, you know what? Can Do didn't get back to us. It looks like at least one other player from the Silverant Facebook group is going to join in. So maybe what I'll do is I'll get back to the main ship and hopefully they just meet us in the lobby, and then we can start a ultimate quest. Or actually, you know what? I'll start an ultimate quest and they can join in. That's probably the best way to do it. Alright, we're going back to Pioneer. Let's get out of Dodge. Okay, here we go. Let's go back to the guild. Let's just head back to the lobby. Oh, sounds like the Dreamcast is making noise, which means somebody might be trying to burst in. Never know. You know what? I haven't really played any other Phantasy Star games. I do have Phantasy Star Universe, but haven't picked it up yet. Okay, let's just create our own team. We're going to transport. We're going to go to Vega. Vega's always a fun ship to join. Maybe we'll get lucky and we can do like a Towards the Future plus quest or something. But yeah, I haven't really played any. I want to get the one on DS, although I hear that one's not fantastic. I am very curious about it. Okay, let's just start our quest as, whoops, UGB. And ultimate and register. You know what? I was the other day just about to buy one of those, what are they called? WPD handheld consoles. You know, those like, they're not really, they're like a multi-emulator sort of tablet gamepad. They go for about 200 bucks. The reviews I've seen of them look pretty good. I mean, they don't look great, but it seems like the emulators always run pretty smooth on them, including the Dreamcast emulators, the N64 emulators, and the PS1 emulators. That's what the Raspberry Pi has always suffered from. Those sort of like, what are those, 5th generation consoles? They just don't play them very well. Item pack. Items. Do we have anything we gotta sell? Nope. Okay. Let's head to the forest and hopefully some of our friends will join in. Yeah, I suggest anybody that is going to be jumping online, especially nowadays, now that the wild west of getting online is kind of over, certainly think about getting the kit from Dreamcast Live. PC Wizard has just made it incredibly easy for anybody to join in nowadays, and it's his kits are pretty good. I think I mentioned before that I did buy his USB line voltage inducer. It's just I don't know, it's so simple. I didn't necessarily need it, but I wanted to kind of clean up my setup, so you know, I thought I'd give it a shot. It was only 29 bucks shipped, and yeah, it's definitely the way to go. I haven't opened it up yet to see if I can kind of reverse engineer it or anything like that, but it's pretty smooth. Like all it is basically is just a USB modem. That's all it looks like, and you just plug it in and plug in your phone cable, and you're good to go. Cool. We got another person that ordered their Dreamcast Live kit. Now, I have no affiliation with that group, other than the fact that I like the people on it. But the guys there, they do make a pretty decent product. Oh, what's this? It's interesting. I don't think I've seen that before. Oh shit, okay, get out of here. I know I can't use it, but maybe I can take a look when I get back to Pioneer and see what it's all about. Yeah, man, that's great. I'm glad you got a copy of PS2 or PSO version 2, because I think a lot of people tend to get version 1 because it's so easy to get. Now, PSO version 2 isn't hard to get, but it is a bit more expensive. And unless you do your research, I don't think a lot of people know the difference. I know I kind of got lucky. I think I ordered mine from Lukey Games a couple years ago, and I don't think they knew the difference, which is kind of shocking to me, because I ordered PSO version 1, they sent me PSO version 2, and I think I got it for $7 or something to that effect. It was pretty cheap, but that's actually the copy I'm playing now, and I have an extra copy downstairs just for my collection. It's pretty mint, so there's really no reason for me to touch it. It has a working serial in it as well in the event that I need that, but as soon as I get my USB GD-ROM, I'm probably just going to stick with the Eve's version, just for ease of use. Did get a response back from Dr. Nemo. He's the guy that runs the USB GD-ROM site, and you know, he got a bad rap on Stone Age Gamer when they ended up cutting ties with him and removing his product from their store. He said that his customer service wasn't great. Now, you know, he's not supposed to be my, he's not supposed to be my dad or anything. You know, he's not supposed to get back to me every other email. It's business, right? When the business is done, there's no need for him to talk to me, so that's fine. We did our business. He says it'll be shipped in such and such a time, and that's it. He uses pretty simple language. I think it's because his native language is German or something like that. Anyways, suffice to say, everybody that's got his product has been very happy with it. Some people have already started to get their orders from the batch that I ordered from, so that's pretty reassuring. So now it's just a kind of hurry up and wait game. I did ask him if I could upgrade my order to have the lid switch, He said he'd get back to me Tuesday. He's out of town right now. He'd see if he'd already shipped my order or not. If he hasn't, he can do that for me and I'll just top him up. Oh shit. Because when I ordered it originally, I didn't really think about it. Well, I did think about it. I was like, okay, a lid switch makes sense. You're going to need to open up the lid in certain games. If it's like a 4-disc game or a 3-disc game like Shenmue, you're playing and you end up needing to swap discs. You got to lift the lid. So at some point, your Dreamcast has to know that the lid has been lifted in order to successfully transfer the disc. So originally my plan was, okay, well, I'll buy a Switch and I'll just do it myself and save some money. Which I probably could. It's not the hard, like, I mean, he still gives you the board with the pinout on it, so that's fine. You just have to put in your own Switch. But then I got to thinking, I was like, you know what, then I'll just end up shopping online, trying to find a Switch that works properly, and it'll take a couple weeks, probably get in, and I'll have to, you know, buy wire and take time to solder it in. For an extra 20 bucks, why don't I just upgrade my order and just quit being cheap? So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm just hoping that I'm able to upgrade it and not have to worry about it, but I guess we'll see what happens. If it's already shipped, it's not the end of the world, but if it hasn't, it'd be really nice to just kind of get it all together in one. Which games are you talking about that don't run in their proper aspect ratio? I know there's one game on Dreamcast that I was kind of excited about. It's a homebrew, Pure Solar, or Pierre Solaire, however you want to enunciate it. It does give you an option for widescreen over VGA. Now, VGA can carry a widescreen signal. That is very possible. But whenever I tried to set it over to widescreen mode, it would sort of kick me back to the main screen and wouldn't do it properly. So I don't know if there's something going on with the way I had it set up. Maybe it was because the VGA was outputting to the upscaler and it was having trouble figuring it out. But regardless, it didn't work for me, so I was a little bit disappointed. Maybe now that I have the Akura box, it'll work properly, so I should probably try that. That's a really good price, actually. 25 bucks for a sealed copy of PSO version 2. I have seen a couple of like local copies for fairly cheap, but I always end up not getting it. I don't know why. A sealed copy of PSO would be really handy to have, actually. You know, you just never know when your copy's going to die. I guess you don't necessarily need another serial number, but you never know. Maybe you have a used copy and the serial number's already been activated online, and then you're kind of screwed. It's like a 1 in a million shot, but I guess it's possible. So yeah, I guess in those circumstances it would make sense to have an extra copy that you can back up on. For me, it was because I found that I was having a hole in my collection all the time downstairs in my main collection. Because my version of PSO was always upstairs by my computer. So I just ended up buying another copy so I can kind of fill in that gap. And actually the copy I have downstairs is better than this one. When I run this one into the ground, I'll probably switch over. That said, when I do get the USB GD-ROM, I'll probably not be using a disc to play this game online at all. Which to some extent takes away from the experience, but does make it a lot easier. Yeah, you know, I did, when I was watching reviews about the GPD, I did notice that the aspect ratio seemed off. but I wasn't quite sure because of the way it's set up. It looked like it's set up more like a tablet than anything else. If they've been able to compensate it, or you're able to compensate for it by adjusting the scale in the options settings. I don't know if that's possible or not. I haven't looked that much into it, but I mean, the emulator seemed to run smooth, which was pretty impressive, because that is a big thing that I've noticed about using like the Raspberry Pi, is that if it's anything from like what, third, fourth generation, I guess, below, what would be fourth generation? So first generation would be like what, Atari and stuff like that. Second generation would be Nintendo and Genesis, and third generation would be like Super Nintendo and stuff. And is fourth generation PlayStation, or is that fifth? I don't know my chronology with video games that well. But anyways, yeah, if you're using a Raspberry Pi to emulate Super Nintendo or anything to that effect, it runs extremely well. Really handy in that regard, but I just haven't had much luck using it for some of the higher end games. Okay, we need to get out of here and heal up, I think. I wonder if I have enough photon points to beef up my launcher. Okay, so that would make sense. PS2 and Dreamcast and stuff like that was 6th generation, then yeah. So 5th generation would be like PlayStation and Nintendo 64 and stuff like that. Now some people out there are probably rolling their eyes that I don't know that, but you know, I know it in the moment and then I instantly forget. 6th generation is easiest to emulate? Why is that exactly? Is it just because everything's more like PC based? I haven't really tried a lot of newer emulators. I mostly stuck to the old classics. So I couldn't tell you like what is it, Null DC, I think is a pretty popular one. For Dreamcast, I haven't tried that one. I haven't tried the Recast or Rycast for Android devices. I heard that one's a pretty easy one to use as well, and runs fairly decent. But yeah, I've just never needed it. Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah. Oh shit. Come on, get out of here. Whew. Alright, we're gonna need to teleport back to town, I think. Can't believe how much these guys are taking it out of me. I think it's just because I obviously don't hit for very much, but I'm starting to learn that droids and solo missions are not the most functional. We're really good to have kind of in the background sniping, but to carry a mission on our own, not so much. I don't see too many droids doing that. Oh, they don't have a Windows version for it then. So it's only on Android, I assume? Okay, while we're here, I'm going to jump back to the PSO group. Okay, let's see who's on Dreamcast Now. Just oh, there's one person. Oh, I think that's the same person that's in normal level. They've got their name is just a bunch of random characters. Right now we're just doing a forest run in Ultimate, and hopefully somebody else joins in. It's pretty quiet out. I sent a shout out on the private Facebook group, but haven't seen anybody bite yet, so hopefully somebody does. Yeah, again, I haven't used Dreamcast, so I don't exactly know how it runs or how well it runs. But I heard it doesn't run very well. Like I heard some games run okay on it using the Raspberry Pi 3, but it's probably games that don't have, you know, a ton of action going on. Like I could see playing games like, let's say, I don't know, like Grandia 2 or something, like something that looks almost sprite based. It's like top down isometric type game. But playing a game like, let's say, well, Phantasy Star Online versions 1 or 2, I can see that being very difficult to emulate and run smoothly on a Raspberry Pi. The reason I don't show up on Dreamcast Now is because I'm currently using my my LAN adapter, my broadband adapter, and I'm not using my DreamPi to connect. If I was going to use my DreamPi to connect, it would show up, but since I'm using the LAN adapter instead, you're just going through the regular Ethernet, so you're not using DreamPi, and if you're not using DreamPi, you won't show up on the DreamPi service. Cool, that's good to know. Like again, I haven't really used it, so I don't know a whole lot of information on it, but that's good to know that if you adjust the resolution, then you can run everything pretty smoothly. Again, I'm just going by what I've heard. And I don't think, depending on what system you use, like let's say you're using RetroPie to instead of like running Raspbian on your Raspberry Pi and then using the emulator just as is. I think if you use a Raspberry Pi and RetroPie, they don't, or like a Raspberry Pi 3 rather, the overclock option is removed. Don't quote me on that because I've only used Recalbox. Although I do have an image ready to go. It's just one of those things where I don't use my Raspberry Pi as much as I thought I would. It's a really cool device to have for gaming, but it's just so overwhelming. Like when you get 100,000 games put onto one little memory card. So yeah, I know that when I was using Recalbox, it wouldn't allow me to overclock it. Yeah, you can definitely catch me, like, I try to get in at least on Saturday nights, unless something else is going on. Wednesday night, like this Wednesday, is going to be PBA Tour 2001, which can kind of be fun to live stream. That game is ridiculous. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot funner than you think it is, but it's an unreleased Dreamcast game that has its online services restored. I think that's the part that I find ridiculous. When you've got games like, what would be a good example? I don't know, like Unreal Tournament. You've got games like Outrigger, stuff like that that still don't have its online capabilities restored, but you can restore PBA Tour 2001, which was never even finished. Okay, that's good to know. So I have really been wanting to kind of revisit the N64 category, or catalog rather. And I was really disappointed in how it ran in Recalbox, even when I overclocked. I tried, you know, I did all this research on different forums and how to adjust the settings on your Raspberry Pi to make it run properly, but I think ultimately what it boils down to is Recalbox. Even though Recalbox is basically a clone of RetroPie, I don't know, it seemed really unstable. It would crash quite often. It had a lot more bells and whistles to it, which I kind of enjoyed. But I can see why people don't use Recalbox as much and prefer to use RetroPie. So there's an image that was floating around on the Pirate Bay. It's like a 64 gigabyte image. Basically, it just gives you a lot of access to all the emulators that have been optimized, and you just kind of install it, and there you go. You know, you've got all your NES stuff, your SNES stuff. I do have a couple of hacks and stuff that I'd like to put on, so, but I mean, that's not a big deal. You just take out the memory card and drop it in your computer, put the hack in the proper directory, and you're on your bike. Okay, anything cool here? Nothing, eh? Don't really need the antidote. Alright, cool. Oh, let's go back to our launcher. One thing I can verify is that I was trying to run the N64 emulator. I was trying to just play Mario Kart 64 on my my Ouya, and it runs like garbage. So I don't know if maybe I have to overclock my Ouya. I know it's a bit older now, and it is a good little emulator system for older game consoles, but maybe it just wasn't quite powerful enough to handle that generation of consoles. I know there's this guy that makes a really cool mod using a Raspberry Pi Zero, and essentially makes it into like a Game Boy shell, and he does it in one of those cool little tin mint shells. And I've been following his mod. It looks a bit complicated. It's nothing that you can kind of throw together. Well, for me anyways, I probably couldn't throw it together in a day. It involves buying quite a few different parts. But the finished product looks pretty amazing. But currently on his channel, he's doing a giveaway. So that could be kind of cool, because I don't really think there's a lot of people on his channel at the moment. So I should probably get in on that, because that looks like a really cool little mod. Basically just looks like a mint tin, and you just open it up and you hit the power button, and it's got a little I think it's like a little 2.5 inch LCD screen in the top part of the tin, and then a just a regular 4-button controller type layout on the bottom part. But yeah, it looks really great. Yeah, I think that's the Minty Pie. Ah, cool. Okay. So you just buy a kit and you just put it together yourself. I know I was following the progress on it for quite some time, and at the time it was just sort of a list of parts. There was no sort of kit that you can buy. Going back to earlier about just jumping into random streams, so I was just kind of screwing around on YouTube last night, and I'm still subscribed to the Spoony one. And out of nowhere, the guy hasn't put up content in like, what, 8 months. He's doing a live stream. So I checked it out for a bit. It was what I expected, just kind of a nothing live stream. But he's really dodging the questions about why the guy's been gone for nearly a year. There's always a little bit of interweb drama regarding that fella, but it was sort of a bit of a surprise. I only dipped into the conversation for maybe 5 or 10 minutes and then moved on, but I did not expect it, that's for sure. You know what? I never had the original DS. I only had the second version of the DS, which is actually probably, I think, in terms of the way it feels, my favorite DS style console. Like going back to like the XL and everything like that. I don't know, just the weight about it, the sort of heft to it, and just the way the buttons were kind of mapped out and the sort of the clicky buttons that it came with. It felt really good to play. Once I got that, I upgraded to the 3DS XL, and that just felt really bulky. And then I upgraded to, what did I upgrade to? The new 3DS XL, which wasn't much of a difference. It still felt kind of bulky. Then I got just a regular 3DS, and that felt good, but it didn't feel quite as rugged as the DS Lite. And then I got a 2DS, which is interesting. I don't know if I like it or not, I'll be honest. It doesn't feel bad, it just kind of feels different. I think I like it, but I never really use it. Yeah, you're gonna hate me for this, but I actually got my regular 3DS at a thrift store for, I think it came with an intact hard shell case, and they just had it in a bag, and they had it for $9. No game, no charger. I thought for $9 I'm gonna take the plunge, and yeah, sure enough, it worked fine. The back charging port was a little bit kind of wonky, but it still charges. Yeah, that's the other thing about the 3DS XL is that, yeah, it just doesn't quite fit in your pocket. Like, even with the regular DS Lite and 3DS, if you had, you know, just a normal case, not one of those big rugged sort of military style cases, you can kind of fit it in your pocket, at least your coat pocket, fairly well. But with the XL, it's just a bit too big to fit anywhere comfortably, so it's not quite portable. It's portable like if you put it in your backpack or something like that, but not quite there in terms of being a pocket console. At least I don't think so anyway. Guess it depends on how big your pockets are. Oh shit, this is bad news. Alright, here we go. Yeah, you know what? I always like my Game Boy Pocket. Hopefully my Game Boy Color will come in shortly. I noticed that on AliExpress they removed all of the versions that have the built-in games, which is the one that I'm supposed to be getting. So if you don't know about it, it's basically a Game Boy Color, but it's backlit. It's not officially licensed. It's by this guy or company. It's got this embossed label called Kong Feng, and I heard about it through a couple other different YouTube channels, and apparently it's pretty decent. It's a backlit Game Boy Color, which I don't necessarily need because I have a couple of SP 101s, which are really nice to have, especially for playing Game Boy Color games. But I figured, okay, I'll give it a shot because it comes preloaded with a bunch of games. So shortly after I ordered mine, I ordered the clear purple. Thought that would be kind of a cool one to have. my idea was, okay, I'll buy it. Maybe I can take the guts out and put it into an actual Game Boy shell, which I still might do if I find, you know, a beat up Game Boy floating around out there, but those are becoming quite hard to find. So I might just leave it as is, but yeah, it'd be kind of cool to have something with a bunch of built-in games, even though it's not necessarily required. And like I said, you don't necessarily need a Game Boy Color to be backlit. There's other options. You can play it, like I said, on your SP or whatever. But yeah, it looks like a pretty cool little console, and if anything else, you can rip it out and put it into a better shell. So, in fact, I'm sure that AliExpress sells better quality replacement shells for your Game Boy than the one that this is going to be released in, but you never know. It only came to about $48 shipped Canadian, which isn't bad at all. But that is if it arrives. Come on, heal up. There we go. Perfect. Okay, after we take out these guys, I'm going to take a quick peek to see if anybody else is on Dreamcast Now. Maybe we can actually get some other players in. That'd be nice. Not another droid, though. Okay, let's open up this and fall back and snipe. Really, I'm curious to see what the thing is that melts. I've never had a problem, other than occasionally on the original Game Boy, you'll get lines through the screen, and generally that's caused by there's like a little bit of glue that connects the ribbon cable to your Game Boy screen, and you can kind of, oftentimes, like, it's not a guaranteed fix. I've done it once and it worked fine. You can heat up that little pad there just using light heat. You don't have to throw a soldering iron on it or anything like that, but even like a heat gun or something, and just put like a towel over it or something, or press it with an iron with the towel, and if you reflow those connections, it generally works after that. But beyond that, I haven't heard of too many faults with the original Game Boy. Okay, we are quickly running out of supplies. We've definitely got to wrap things up here, or find a cache of goodies to replenish. I think we're probably going to have to teleport back to town, though. Yeah, it's amazing what people will trade for things. I think I mentioned it before. I tend to go to this group whenever I can called Geek Swappers here in Toronto. You know, I really don't care about figures. That being said, I'll tell you about a pretty good score in a second. I care about video games, generally. That's kind of my geeky thing. Maybe the occasional comic, depends on what it is. I really enjoy the Alan Moore run of Swamp Thing. I'll read that a couple times. Like, I probably read it about 12 times or something in its entirety. But beyond that, I pretty much just stick with video games. When I get action figures, I tend to swap them out, trade them for something else. So at this Geek Swapper thing, I traded quite a bit of comic books and random figures and some LCD handhelds that I had kicking around that I don't have a whole lot of interest in anymore, and picked up a lot of video games. But the thing was, I felt like that wasn't necessarily the fairest of trades, only because I thought I was getting the better deal. But I guess the value is really subjective. I mean, if these people didn't really care about video games and they cared more about the comics, then sure, they probably felt as though they got the better deal. But no, I got a copy of Advance Wars on Game Boy Advance for in box complete for, I think it was like an old 28 Days Later comic, and maybe a Metropolitan comic, just a random one-off. I don't know how valuable those are, but I would assume they're far less valuable than the Game Boy Advance game. But then again, if the guy had no interest in Game Boy Advance and had more interest in the comics, then we both made off well, so. Oh man, I wouldn't feel bad. Back in the day, I kind of grew up in the era of trading cards. And, you know, at one point, especially in like the mid-90s when the speculators were out, you could get a decent amount of money for trading cards. Like nowadays, you can barely get anything for them, even some of the more valuable cards. But I can remember having, what did I have? I had like, I think I had a Patrick Raw rookie card. Some guy convinced me that it was a good trade for a bunch of, I don't know, a bunch of random one-offs. I think back then I was young. I was probably like 10 years old. Didn't have a real good grasp of commerce. And I was more like, well, I get more cards for one card. So of course I want more cards. And I traded them, and I can remember him after the trade just immediately gloating, running around the school about the Patrick Roy rookie card that he got. I thought, oh, I'm such a fucking dummy. So I don't know. We've all been there. I wouldn't feel bad. Some people like WWE. I know I belong to a trading group where we trade a lot of like horror movies and shit like that. And I had a bunch of old wrestling VHS. Now, it wasn't all WWE, WWF stuff. It was like backyard wrestling and some Japanese stuff. And on my YouTube channel, I think I've uploaded some stuff recently about it. Not about it, rather, but I've uploaded some of the VHSs. I've transferred them over. Okay, who cares about that? So anyways, I traded this guy for a bunch of Blu-rays, and I mean a lot. Like I think I gave him like 12 VHS, and he gave me about 20 Blu-rays. But you know, these Blu-rays were easily liquidatable. In fact, I did sell about half of them and made a decent amount of money. I think I made like at least $100 anyway. So I kind of felt bad, but I mean, the guy digs wrestling and doesn't care about Blu-rays, so. You know, I guess it was a good trade in the end for both of us because he got rid of some Blu-rays he didn't care about, and I got some I got rid of some wrestling VHSs I didn't care about. So all comes out in the wash. Yeah, I certainly regretted the Patrick Roy rookie card back in the day, but obviously now. Anybody that has, I still have a shoebox full of 90s sports cards. Actually, I have quite a bit. I got another shoebox full of like, they used to make cards of everything, and they still very well might. I just don't pay attention to it anymore. But, you know, I've got, I think the first 3 series of Marvel cards. Because I think they did them from 1990 to 1992, maybe. And then they did a subset called Marvel Masterpieces, which I have as well. So I have those. They did DC cards, but they weren't as popular, but I should dig them out. I remember them looking a lot cooler. You know, most people will, I mean, it's pretty common knowledge that DC and Marvel, if you're comparing back in the day, DC was known for being more of the adult comic company. And that's disputable, but I'm not a comic connoisseur. But anyways, yeah, so there's the DC trading cards, and I think I had some like really weird random ones too, like I think I had like Beetlejuice trading cards, like the cartoon, maybe live action as well, I can't remember. What else did I have? Dungeons and Dragons ones, oh, Monster in My Pocket, which were quite interesting because I think I have the full set of Monster in My Pocket still, but they used to all come with these little figures as well. So something tells me that a complete set with all the little figures is probably worth some cash. I should probably take a look. I think I have maybe about 5 or 6 of the figures, but definitely not all of them. But I do have a complete collection of the cards. I'm gonna have to dig into that. Now I'm curious again. Yeah, I have a ton of really old O-Pee-Chee cards from like the early 60s. remember being at my grandmother's house back in the day, and her saying, you know, oh hey, you guys like baseball cards, so why don't you take these? These used to be your aunt and uncle's. And just gave me this grocery bag, and it was just filled with good condition, not mint by any means, but good condition OPG cards. Some of them had writing on them. Some of them were a little dog-eared and stuff like that, but overall they're in pretty good condition. And back in the day, I probably could have made some money, because there was like there was like a Ken Dryden rookie kicking around in there. There was a Bobby Orr rookie kicking around in there. A whole bunch of rookie cards. I don't know how much they're worth nowadays, but pretty decent. And I think at the time they were all worth between about $50 to $100. And I sat on them because everybody was speculating. It's like, well, no need to sell, and if they're worth this much now, they're only going to be worth more later. But I really don't know that market. I know back growing up, I used to go to card conventions and things where people would have all sorts of tables and be trading and selling. And this isn't like Pokemon or anything like that. This is just like regular old baseball and NHL cards. I think actually back in the day, I used to have like a couple of the other, even though I didn't follow football, like they had football cards, or I didn't really follow basketball, they had basketball cards and things like that. But again, never really got into that as much. And the other thing too was that there were so many different companies releasing sports cards back in the day. So you'd have like, you know, if you collected for OPG, it was kind of considered, I don't know, I don't want to say lower class, but less valuable, maybe more accessible than, let's say, Upper Deck, which had the little holograms and stuff like that. I couldn't tell you again what they're worth now, but I imagine that since, I don't know, Upper Deck kind of had more people generally interested in their product probably isn't as valuable. I don't know. You got me curious now. I should probably revisit my old hockey cards. Alright, let's see if we can move this camera, because I seem to be slowly falling away here. Here we go. Oh, now I've disappeared completely. There, that's a little bit better. Yeah, you know, it's funny. I never really got into hockey back in the day. Mostly because growing up in a hockey town. So I grew up in this town called Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. And I grew up in the era when very popular hockey player, you probably know him, his name is Wayne Gretzky, was playing for the Sioux Greyhounds in the OHL. And I actually lived on the same street as him. So it's Patrick Street in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. And, you know, everybody was into hockey. It was just a big, big thing. And anyways, I grew up poor as dirt. And when you grow up poor as dirt and you have no money, you don't play hockey because it's an expensive game. You play baseball. So that was my game of choice. And because of that, I just never really learned how to skate properly or anything. Like, I can go forward, but stopping's still a pain in the ass. Okay, come on, get out of here. Yeah, it's funny growing up because I can remember a ton of kids back in the day that were, you know, potentially being scouted and stuff like that. And definitely a big deal, but I don't know what happened to those guys. I don't know if any of them ended up playing because I don't follow the game at all either. I think part of it is just growing up with a little bit of animosity towards it. You just never really want to have anything to do with it after that. Oh shit, this is bad news. Okay, cool. We're out of here. I think it was mentioned earlier, just going back to what I was saying about collectibles, you know, So I have all these cards and things, and I never really got into toys that much. I tried to, I bought some, but I just didn't get it. I never completed full sets. I just kind of had one-offs. I always end up selling them, and you generally don't sell them for that much, just make my money back. I had a limited edition Link, Jack Specific in-box, gold trophy edition, and I got that in a trade from somebody for some comics. I can't remember what it was, but I was looking online. I was like, I can hold on to this in box and I don't really care about it. Or it looks like people are selling it for about 150. So, you know, I wanted a quick sale. I didn't want something sitting on eBay for 10 years. I sold it for 70 and got rid of it within 24 hours. But, you know, I like Nintendo. I enjoy the Legend of Zelda games, but I don't need a figure. So that said, what am I teasing at? Well, this might speak to my personality, but I don't really have a lot of shame when it comes to taking things off the side of the road. So kind of where I live now, it's a little bit affluent to some degree, but this particular find doesn't have anything to do with being affluent. It's not like you're finding a bag of gold or anything. But what I did find was a banana box filled with some very liquidatable, high-end collectible toys. Kind of hard to show because they're not all of them are here. And I've been cleaning them up in the garage. Actually, they weren't in bad shape at all. They were actually in really decent shape, but I just didn't want to bring them into the house until they were thoroughly clean, because you're never 100% sure where they came from. So I found the box came with a little bit of everything. It came with a complete Transformers Generation 1 Devastator with all the weapons and everything. Pretty good shape. Some of the stickers had started to fall off, so that was pretty cool. It came with the I think it's actually McFarlane Toys Matrix Sentinel with display stand. Really big toy. It's got to be like 2 feet long once all the tentacles are spread out. Also got maybe a 20-inch alien xenomorph. Could be a little bit smaller, could be a little bit bigger. It's hard to say because it depends on how you have it upright. Okay. Let's launch this. Okay, sweet. That'll get me out of trouble. What else came with? A battle damaged Robocop with display stand and weapon, gun. Shit, where did I go? Fuck. What else? Oh my god, this camera is gonna kill me. Okay, let's just see if we can get these guys killed and... Jesus. Okay, freeze. Alright, let's use this guy. What else? King Conan with the throne and the throne room and the helmet and everything complete. So that was pretty cool. Oh, okay, I think I had Escape Doll. Oh, come on, I forgot to heal up. I guess we're going back to Pioneer. Damn it! Some old X-Men Colossus figure, which was kind of neat. And what else did it come with? I think that was about it. Anyways, clean them all up. It's probably, if you were to sell them and wait for a little bit on eBay, you'd probably make, I don't know, at least $300 to $400 Canadian. So that was kind of a cool little find. Item, equip. Do I have my weapon? No. Oh, I do. Sweet. Alright, we're going to need to take some money out. We lost all our Meseta. And we're going to need to buy some Try and die mates. Okay. And I am shocked nobody has jumped in so far. But anyways, maybe after I clean them all up, I'll show them in another video. Okay, escape doll, yes please. Good old Fergus. Are we talking about Fergus, Ontario, or is there a Fergus, New York? I've been to Fergus a few times. Actually not a bad little town. Ah, good old Bradford. I used to date a girl from Bradford. Oh shoot, we should have just gone right to Force 2. Alright. Maybe I'll jump back. I guess we're really not missing too much. We're just missing our Meseta. I'm just going to take a quick look on Dreamcast Now, see if anybody else has joined in. And it looks like it's just that one other person again. So let's go back to Pioneer and let's go to the Force 2 portal. It is an off game night, so it doesn't shock me that there's not a whole lot of folks on, but let's grab our stuff at least. Force 2. I think what I'll do then is tomorrow I'm going to try and rustle up a bit of a crew to jump in. Okay, there's our launcher. Oh. Let's see if we can just snipe at least one of these guys out. Before he gets wise that I'm here. Okay, sweet. Got one. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Nice. Alright, let's go find our Meseta. Okay, good. There it is, right over here. Perfect. You know I haven't, but I do have a custom Robo game for DS that I've always been kind of tempted to play. But I just haven't fired it up yet. I think I have custom Robo Arena. Yeah, man, that'd be awesome if you could jump in and play tomorrow, because I don't think I work for the next 4 days after this. Sorry, I'm just going to go see if I can find that game. Okay, here we go. So I have this one right here, Custom Robo Arena 2000. Right here is fairly decent. I just haven't had the opportunity to play it yet. Okay. Telepipe, mood atomizer. Alright, I am going to, now that I have my Meseta back. Cool. The reviews rather that I read on it said it was pretty good. Just another one of those games I haven't gotten around to. So who knows? Maybe I will play it actually. Right now I'm in the thick of playing on the 3DS A Link Between Worlds, which is a fantastic game. Man, I wish I would have, like I knew the reviews were pretty good. I just wish I would have listened to the reviews like 4 years ago when it was released, because it is a really fun Legend of Zelda game. It's pretty much like, at least as far as I am anyways, reminds me almost beat for beat playing a Link to the Past for the first time. But yeah, I'm pretty thick into that right now. It's a lot of fun. I seem to be blowing through it pretty quick, which, you know, could be deceiving. I might not be getting through it as quick as I actually think I am. But yeah, after I finish that game, probably looking for something new to play, and hey, why not? Let's try Custom Robo 2000. Alright, we're gonna go back to the lobby. Maybe there's another person that's not showing up on Dreamcast Live that is available to play. I never even thought to mod my my original DS, to be quite honest. Organize team, join team. Ah, there's no other teams there. Okay, well, let's save our quest. Save 1. Character data saved. How far away from a level up are we? We're a little ways away. I knew you could buy that Wi-Fi adapter that you plug into your PC, but I've never thought to actually get one. Only because I didn't even think that. Oh, hey, Bob's on. Cool. Hey. Only because I figured I'll be playing most of my DS games now on my 3DS, but didn't really even think to start modding my DS. I just have my original R4 card for the DS, which is pretty it's kind of handy if you just want to play old school games on it, but that's as far as I got. I'm getting there. Actually, I'm just about to log off. I gotta be at work in 5 hours. Any tips? Playing offline, not so much. I think the biggest tips are if you can find somebody online to play with and they're a couple levels higher than you, just see if they've got any goodies. Are you going to be around tomorrow? Cool. I hope to be on around 10 p.m. ish. Me too. Gotta wait for the family to get to bed before I can have fun. Oh man, I would love to play the CDI one. That looks so bad. The closest I've ever come to a CDI is I found a controller once, which I traded for a light gun for the Dreamcast. But yeah, those games look terrible. Indeed. Okay. Catch you later. Alright guys, as you probably guessed, I'm going to log off. So let's quit our game. Save it to our VMU. Yeah, of course you can use your offline file for online. I think that's how I started actually. I didn't really know which character to pick and I just sort of randomly picked a droid and then just sort of went with it ever since. So, well, if you ever do get online, let me know and I will definitely help you level up your character. Alright, in the meantime, I have definitely got to go. I got to be at work in like 5 hours. So, hope everybody enjoyed. Take care, and I will see you later. Good night.